Hello everyone, my name is Ishan and welcome to the last lecture, lecture number 19 of this COVID-19 lecture series. The aim was to pick the 19 from COVID-19 and make a lecture series of 19 economics-based lectures that analyze the COVID-19 situation and how the world and the economy around the world is being affected by it in as detail as possible. So this is not the last lecture for INS, this is just the beginning. This was a debut project by INS Ichni-san, which is Australia's first multilingual dialogue and conversation center, in which we are focusing not just on academia and research, but also on practical fieldwork. And the whole idea is to come up with a commentary and policies for tackling social issues that are faced by the society and the community around the world. So this is the last lecture. The focus of this lecture is just very simple. It is very practical that all of us are thinking, what's next? How is our life going to be? How is life of people around us going to be after this whole COVID-19 situation ends? Is everything going to be the same? Or like many say, nothing is going to be the same. Things that were abnormal could be normal. Things that were normal could be a dinosaur now. So let us have a quick chat about it. Now here, it's not really to do with any economic model or to say one thing is going certainly in a particular direction, because we are all stepping into the unknown. So at the end of this video, do comment and tell how your life has been affected or was affected. How do you see your life change than what it used to be before, especially after the COVID-19 situation? Do you see some areas in your life improving, or do you see some areas in your life worsening forever? Permanently. So do talk about it. There could be change in dynamics. There could be change in the way people talk to each other and the way in which families meet each other as well. So do write in the comment box on YouTube. Share what your viewpoint is. Tell us how your life has been affected so people around the world can interact with you. I can interact with you more as well. In order to do that, you got to subscribe to the Ichni-san channel, because the COVID-19 series is now ending. There will be a new series, or there'll be new lectures, there'll be new discussion forums organized as well. There will be debates on different topics. So in order to engage in all of those and contribute to all of those, you'll need to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any videos or any announcements that I make. Also, make sure you follow the Instagram page called Ichni-san, the Twitter page, the Twitter account. We will have a commentary on a lot of policies happening around the world. That is obviously called Ichni-san as well. Also follow the Facebook page that is called Ichni-san. So we have a presence on Facebook, even on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube as well. So there are so many avenues made available for people to interact with each other. All you have to do is contribute and write your comments in a constructive manner so people can learn, so we can learn from each other and from our viewpoints. So let us begin our last lecture before this COVID-19 series about the life ahead, what happens after the pandemic ends. So let's have a look at that. Some people see more changes than other people. Some people's lives are flipped completely. Some people's lives are not affected at all. So it's very diverse. This topic is so huge. So you may be able to relate to certain points that I might raise, or you might have very unique points of your own as well. So contribute, as I said, as much as possible. And now let's look at the points that I would like to bring to the table. The first question about the life after COVID-19 is the lifestyle choices, the way people's lives have changed. It could be the way they work. It could be the way they meet each other. It could be the way trade is conducted. The big question is this all short-lived? Or is this actually going to be a long-term change? So the changes in trade partners, the changes in our lifestyles, the changes with the way we report to work, the way we actually get work done. Some lifestyle changes that we have implemented as well, more time with the family, probably because we are locked down. Is this all just short-lived, and will it be back to the way it was before the COVID times? Will it go back to the pre-COVID-19 times? Or is this actually going to stay around for a while? Will it stay permanently? Will this be a permanent change, or will this be a change for the next year or two, and then people slowly start reverting back to the routines that they had before the crisis happened? Something to think about, whether it's short term or if this lifestyle changes long term. Also, leaderships around the world could be affected. Some leaders might emerge as winners, literally. Their popularity ratings might increase, whereas some leaders might have to just quit their jobs because of the way they handle the situation, whether left wing, whether right wing, whether you're in the center, whether you're pro a particular leader or you're against a particular leader, whether you support one or not. Leaderships are bound to get shaken up, either for good or bad. In some cases, it's a guarantee for certain leaders that they will be elected again, or their political party will win the upcoming elections because of the way they handled the situation and the praise they received around the world and within their own country as well. Where in countries that actually ended up in a more disastrous situation with lack of firm leadership and decision making, more pointing fingers, blaming people for what is going on, may see a collapse or an end to their leadership runs. So that is something very interesting to view as well. The upcoming elections in the US would tell us if the Trump administration has impressed people or has annoyed people more than it had done before. The capitalism and communism debate is also bound to continue. And this debate has been going on for a while. A lot of media outlets are bound to report how certain capitalist countries did better. Some media outlets would say how capitalism has failed and it has always led to a recession. Some might come up with an argument for communist countries and against communist countries. So this debate is bound to continue with people bringing up examples from communist-based or influenced or communist countries and other free market and capitalist countries. So this is bound to happen. Only time will tell if people agree with one over the other, or the debate just continues as it has been going on for decades and decades. So this is something that will go on in the political spectrum for sure. Also, classism, we might see a decrease in classism, or in some cases, in some countries or regions, we might see an increase in classism, and that is purely because of the way the media has portrayed of it. People have experienced certain communities behaving and responding to the COVID-19 rules and regulations. We have seen certain communities and sectors of the society disobeying the rules and not following any precautions whatsoever. Now, some people might judge and feel I'm only talking about societies that fall in the lower socioeconomic backgrounds, but that's not true. We have seen in many countries how even rich people have been disobeying laws and trying to twist and turn the rules to favor them. So it's nothing to do with targeting or looking at one community only, but different communities from each other's perspective may give rise to either increased hate or increased love for each other. The way people see different religious people behaving in the situation could also change their view about those particular sections of the society. So how obedient people were in following the rules and regulations, how anarchists they were in following rules and regulations, how certain classes were treated by other classes in this situation, all of that is bound to have a rebound. It's bound to have a reaction after the crisis ends. So things will not be the same because people's behaviors were probably in most cases not the same in the crisis situation. Shopping and e-commerce is also changed. Obviously, people are shopping online. There is a lot of e-commerce increase in the e-commerce sector. We have seen in one of my previous videos how Amazon, for instance, has actually ended up employing a huge number of people. Their market share is just increasing. We have seen how Zoom has benefited as well. So as we have seen that some companies have gained momentum, certain sectors have gained momentum, we have also seen some collapse and certain supply chains collapse as well, certain producers and manufacturers not being able to cope up. So the way we shop, where we shop, how we shop, okay, the platforms that we use, that's bound to change. Now, whether it's in the long term or short term is based on each person's point of view. It's based on their lifestyle. So you could comment and tell if your shopping patterns, if you're comfortable in your shopping patterns to such a degree that you will continue to shop online, or would you actually prefer to go in person the way you used to do before, if you were, of course. Streaming services have also gained momentum. That raises the question, what is the future of movie theaters and movie cinemas in the world? Streaming has already been a competitor. It has been a disruptive competitor. The revenues that cinemas and movie theaters have been earning were decreasing because of the increasing streaming services, but there is no end to that increasing streaming services. It's more and more, the industry is just expanding. So it is questionable how the actual physical entertainment locations are going to cope up with this particular change due to the COVID-19 situation. I know the situation was changing before, but it's actually got that kick, that extra boost that it needed in this situation. So that is something to consider as well. Similarly, the usage of social media, many people out of boredom signed up to different social media accounts in this COVID-19 situation. Are they going to continue with the same, or are established and popular uh, accounts or social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok in many countries, the momentum they have gathered, is that going to continue? And some other apps that receive temporary increase in momentum, is that going to decrease? So some companies would have expanded, they would have made plans based on the increased revenue and increased size and increased stock prices for future. Are they going to see a decline, and would they have to restructure all over again because people stop using them after they come out of the COVID-19 situation? Or will people actually continue to use them at a higher level because they're now comfortable with the new social media that they have been exposed to? Also, trade is bound to change with different countries. Some emerged as friends and they complemented each other. Some countries ended up in even more issues at the borders, in which trade has actually been affected and has been worse than it was ever before. So will countries continue with their new trading partners, or will those new trading partners only be in the short run? In the long run, they would revert back to the older trading partners. This is something we'll be checking out and seeing going ahead in my uh, further videos, future videos as well. How about employment? Are people going to be employed in new areas? How about price levels of different items? No, I mean, some items have gained momentum. They have come up as luxurious and important at the same time, and they have inflated their prices in the COVID-19 situation. Will those products and those companies continue to inflate their prices, or will they put a stop to it and bring them back to where they were before? That is something that we'll have to see. Some new professions in e-commerce, new professions in entertainment, new professions even in the medical or healthcare sector have come up because of the COVID-19 situation. The question is, will these professions continue to flourish, or are they short term, and will they end once the COVID-19 situation has ended? And people will also look into new areas that they have been exposed to in this particular COVID-19 situation. Have you been exposed to a particular area? Have you thought of a career change with regards to the path in which your career is heading, your jobs are heading? Have you looked at any new professions? Do let me know. That also raises the question about people who were forcefully made redundant in many industries, or people who lost their jobs and are facing frictional unemployment. When this unemployed number of people, this class, actually and starts looking for employment once the COVID-19 situation settles down, are they going to be are they going to maintain the same set of skills? Are they going to be still sought after by the organizations? Are organizations going to look at newer people, not the ones that had lost their jobs before? But the competition between the ones who had experience and were made frictionally unemployed against the fresh graduates who are now in the market will be as intense as ever. So the question will be, who gets employed, and what happens to the families and lifestyles of those people who are facing unemployment, and if they continue to face unemployment in the coming years as well. Working from home has obviously changed. Remote working, flexible working hours, the whole HR structure, the way the governance works, and the way the employers look after their employees, the different ways of motivating them, the different ways of giving them perks. This whole thing is going to change because a lot of importance could be given on flexible working hours, not just flexible working hours, but flexible working locations as well, allowing people to work from homes as far as they are efficient, as I've mentioned in one of the previous videos as well. So a big question is, how is this whole working from home going to function going ahead? The surge in the internet usage at a domestic level Will that continue, or will it be back to the industries who require that internet for people to work from their offices? So a big question here about HR and how restructuring might take place on a permanent basis for people working from home. That also raises the question about offshoring and people hiring people from countries outside your home country who could work remotely as well. Remote working is very common. It's not a new concept at all. The only question is how much momentum does it gain after the COVID-19 situation ends? Consumption patterns of people might also change. They might be consuming something in higher amounts during the COVID-19 compared to what they were consuming before the COVID-19 situation. Once again, will those patterns continue? Will a surge in demand for certain consumption continue, or will they decline and people will go back to their previous consumption patterns? This is not just because of a change in lifestyle or where they work from, but it's also to do with the change in uh, the remuneration that they're receiving, the jobs in which they are working at. It's also to do with people who are unemployed or redundant or have less working hours now. Just because there is less money coming in and less income being earned due to the crisis, will those people have different consumption patterns, and will those changes in consumption patterns again affect the industries that are relying on people's heavy consumption? So these things will be changing as well. Going green is another part. Of course, there are heavy lobby groups both for going green and against going green. The traditional industries that rely on coal or that rely on resources that are exhaustible, non-renewable, are pretty strong as well with their political connections. Will they really allow countries or sectors to go green, or will the green sectors really emerge as the winners because of an collapse in the existing sectors already? So with a new fresh start, will the industries go back to their previous carbon footprints and manufacturing styles, or will they actually go for newer, advanced, greener, cleaner areas or manufacturing processes that are actually good for the environment and which have a positive spillover effect on the society? So that is something to actually observe. Now, going green could be people's consumption patterns, it could be manufacturing patterns, it also could be what the government is actually providing the people, such as roads and infrastructure, bicycling paths, even workplaces could actually encourage people to share their cars and use a bicycle to work with extra incentives for doing so. This will be a very interesting area to observe and study as time passes, whether the world actually shifts to a more greener and a more sustainable future and policies. The other significant part that has gained attention, which needed attention for many, many years, and finally, unfortunately, it had to be a COVID-19 situation, but it has gained attention, and that is mental health. So a lot of emphasis is given on mental health. I hope it continues as well. I believe it will. A lot of countries might actually allocate their resources and funds towards mental health of the people in their countries. Companies and private corporations and organizations could do the same, screening people for mental health issues and actually looking after each other will increase with regards to the mental health of people, with almost some studies saying 50% of people in certain sectors suffering from mental health issues during the COVID-19 situation. It has actually asked for an alarming rate of awareness among people, and which we have seen because of social media and other media outlets. So let's just hope this continues. I strongly feel a focus on mental health will continue. My only hope is that it's not short-lived. I hope it's not short-lived. I hope it is long-term and there is more advancement and more permanent funding in this particular area. Also, the question raises, is about disruptive innovation or unwanted innovation. Now, historically, we say disruptive innovation is one that is really good for people, good for the society and the economy, which is more polished, more technologically savvy, and which actually makes people's lives easier in such a way that the previous technology just goes, it just gets erased, altogether. It gets disrupted. So that is disruptive innovation, which is actually praised in entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial studies. However, the question is, in this COVID-19 situation, are we really seeing authentic disruptive innovation, or are we seeing unwanted innovation? So innovation that is helping us to survive in the given situation, but which we don't really require afterwards. So the big question is, some industries collapsing and some industries coming up on top. Is that disruptive, or is that unwanted, and will that really be sustainable in the long run? So what do you feel? How has your life changed with regards to the finances and the way you manage your microeconomic or finances within your family? Are there any other things that have changed with your life? Is there something more you like to share, or something interesting that you have read? Do comment in the YouTube comment section. But on this note, I would like to conclude the COVID-19 lecture series of 19 lectures. Thank you for participating. Thank you for giving your precious comments, and to everyone who has liked the videos and subscribed to the channel as well. The channel is growing, which is brilliant. It is very diverse as well. The more diversity we have with the subscribers and the more participation that we see, the more we can engage in intellectual talk, which is based on ground reality and industrial knowledge as well. So thank you very much. This is an end to the COVID-19 lecture series. Hope you enjoyed, but it's not an end to my lecture series. There will be more lectures on different topics uploaded regularly. So make sure you click on the bell icon as well, so you get updated and notified about what's going on. Until then, stay safe, and hope to see you in my other lectures in the broader field of economics. Thank you for being a great audience. See you.